OMG. Welcome back to my channel. So excited you are here. Thanks so much for clicking on this video. I appreciate you. It's Jody Dunn. I'm coming at you with a new weekly video, and we are doing a garden edition this week, starting off with some backyard cleanup. If you're new and you just found me, so happy that you are here. Would you please say hello to me and let me know you are new down in the comment section so I can welcome you and say hello back to you. And if you're already subscribed, thanks so much for coming back to another video. I appreciate you. Definitely leave me a hello in the comments so I can say hi to you as well. So I'm starting in the backyard. We're going to be doing a lot in today's video. We've had fairly good weather all week, so I've been working out in the yard just a ton, and we're going to start with some backyard cleanup. I just recently had all of these, they're called American Black Nightshade, pop up. It just doesn't look very nice, but also they are quite toxic to pets. Clark does not bother eating leaves. He likes to eat sticks and mulch, but he doesn't usually bother plants and things like that. So I'm not necessarily super worried about that, but I do want to get it all up just in case. So last spring, summer, and part of fall, I worked on cleaning up this backyard, which had been neglected for many, many years and became totally out of control. My husband helps sometimes when he's home. A lot of times I'm doing the work while he's at work. So obviously he's not helping me. But on this particular day, I did come out while he was home. So maybe he will show up to help as well, which would be awesome. Last weekend, I got out and did about an hour and a half worth of work, and he did end up coming out whenever he sees me out working. I think he feels like he needs to come help as well. I don't ask. Like, if he wants to help, great. If he doesn't, great. But he did come out, but I was done. Like, I only spend so much time working in the yard. We have poison ivy, so I have a time limit of what I put on the yard. I haven't run into any so far this year back here. The Hubs did get poison ivy a couple of weeks ago in a little bed in the front yard. So I'm not looking forward to that because my plan is to redo that bed. So I know I got to be extra careful. But I know there's still poison ivy back here. It's very, very challenging to get rid of. So anyways, over, the year of me working in the yard and you guys coming along for the journey, which I so appreciate. I've received lots and lots of suggestions, some of them so incredibly helpful. I've gotten some tools I would have never known about. Somebody recently suggested to me that there is a stump and vine killer, which thank you so much. I just recently ordered that, so I'm hoping that will help because I have volunteer trees pop up because my yard is completely full of trees. It's like a little wooded area. I love it, but it poses its challenges, of course. And look who decided to show up. I'm only on my second bag and he's already here. And we've taken down just a tremendous amount of the volunteer trees. But of course, if you don't get them out by the root, which is almost impossible for the ones that had been growing for years, they grow back. It's such a pain in the butt. For instance, this black cherry tree my husband took down last year. The big log has been sitting in the yard. We need to get rid of it. It's growing back. It's a never ending battle. How are we going to get this tree out? Because it's growing a new tree.
What one?
This one that you took down last year.
The one that's laying on the ground?
Yeah.
I just actually plugged in your little chainsaw thing you got.
The mini?
Yeah.
You tried that last year and it burned up because of this. Yeah, probably should try the... Remember you had to hack it down by hand?
Oh, I might be able to cut it up though.
I've told you guys before, he has lovingly, I say lovingly, called our backyard the woods. And I'm trying to make it our backyard. So things like this, they bother me. They do, they bother me. Like he put in all of that work to get this tree down, which really probably, it was a volunteer tree. It was too big really for him to try to get down. He was using my little mini chainsaw, which kept burning up because the wood was too thick for the mini chainsaw. But he got it down finally. He spent like so much time hacking it by hand. It was actually kind of awesome to watch him do it. And then the dang thing has just been sitting in the yard. So I do not view this as the woods. I view this as our backyard, and I want to make it usable. So he did plug in my mini chainsaw, and he did finally get it, that big, huge branch, well, the big, huge tree, cut up with the mini chainsaw, but he had to it would stop working because it was too big, and then it would go again. So anyways, he finally got it. So I'm so happy that big tree that had, people kept asking, oh, did you have a tree fall down? Because it was so huge. So that's going. Of course, it's just growing a new tree though, the stump is. So hopefully the stuff I ordered will help to stop that. We have a lot of stumps like that that are just continuing to grow back new trees. But I would love if you have some suggestions. So a couple of things that, people leave in the comments. Uncovered or ground does not like to be uncovered. It will grow weeds. Yeah, I know that. You don't have to tell me that. I know that. I think I have kind of a plan. I have ordered some roots of some shade-loving plants that I'm going to plant back here. But I don't know how to stop the weeds. I'm not planting grass on this side of the yard. It's way too shaded. I do plan on planting grass on the other side of the yard. I definitely do not want to put mulch down. That would literally be a nightmare trying to clean up the amount of leaves that we get that fall from all of the trees that we have. That would just be such a mess. I'm not putting mulch back here. It's too much. It's too big of an area. Yes, I can put cardboard down. That definitely helps. And I have slowly and surely been doing that. You can kind of see right there, I have a little cardboard where I'm trying to make a walkway from the backyard to the front yard or the side yard. And cardboard, oh my gosh, it works so fantastic to help suppress the weeds. But I only have a limited amount of cardboard. I've talked about it before. You can probably go to some of the big box stores and ask them for cardboard. I'm probably not going to do that. I've been saving up the cardboard I get. I've been asking family and friends to save up their cardboard so I can use it in my yard. But I don't know what to do to control the weeds in the areas. I only have so much time and so much resources to be able to do. I think sometimes people, when they comment, they're like, well, why don't you do this? And I'm thinking, do you have 100 hours in your week and unlimited funds to be able to go buy all of the things you need to do a job like this? I'm just one person. I can only do what I can do. But if you have a suggestion that I haven't thought of or just talked about that's not, I've had some people say, why don't you just mow the area, which actually is not a bad idea for the areas that, until I figure out exactly what I'm doing in every square inch of it. Except for we have so many stumps. There are so many stumps. There are regularly so many sticks from them falling from the trees. I just don't know if that's possible at this point. While I was getting all the weeds up, that whatever it was called, I already told you, nightshade. The hubs was pulling up some of the stumps. He could get some of them pretty far down. Some of them, they're just too darn deep. So hopefully the stuff I ordered will help with those. And I am getting to more of the years of leaves back here that I am cleaning up. So my vision is just to have a lovely garden area in this, on this side of the yard. That's the one that is very shaded. So if you have some suggestions, obviously the more I plant of things that will help with the weeds, and putting down some cardboard when I can. I am going through with my 30% vinegar spray that I mixed with water, and just spraying some of the little ones. It works really well to kill a lot of the weeds, but not all of them. And it does help to suppress them from coming back too quick. So I know this will help for a little while. If you've never heard of that vinegar, it's an actual like garden vinegar. I'll link it down in the description box. I find it the cheapest through Amazon. So I'm just going to keep plugging along and get this yard cleaned up, and eventually it is going to be a lovely backyard for us. And there's the hubs cutting up that big old tree. We got 9 bags of yard waste to put out for the guys to pick up this week. So that makes me very, very happy. So about an hour and a half worth of work. This is what this space looked like before I got out here and before Hubs came out to help. So grateful for him doing the heavy digging for those stumps. And now it looks so much better. Of course, there are still some volunteer trees that are growing up through stumps. And I left my daylilies up and things like that. So we're going to move on to some fun flower stuff now. Told you last week, I think maybe, this hanging basket I bought I'm not loving the way it is growing. So I'm going to go ahead and chop it up. Being a little bit more experienced, I don't know that I could have done this maybe even last year. But now I'm a lot more comfortable with flowers and plants than I was. And so I'm going to chop this dang thing up. I'm just cutting it off right to the base of the plant, or the base of the pot, excuse me. And this is really actually going to help the flowers in here. It's going to stimulate growth from the middle. I probably could have taken off when you see once I'm done. I probably could have taken off even more in the middle area, but it's just growing very leggy in a lot of spaces, and I don't like the way it's growing. So I know this will help it. I'm going to take off a bunch of growth, and within a couple of weeks, it will look just more full and less leggy. I told you recently I found a gardening channel, Up North Gardening with Corey, I think it is. And they have a nursery, and he showed this several times, just really trimming back hanging baskets really, really helps them. So I felt very comfortable doing this, actually more comfortable, like I said, than I would have even last year. It was such a beautiful basket when I purchased it. It's got white petunias, yellow calibrachoa in here, and then it's got really vibrant yellow. They're called false sunflowers. It was just so pretty when I bought it, and it just didn't grow very good. I don't know why. Some plants just do that. So anyways, I'm going to help it out and take off some of these, and hopefully in a couple of weeks, it'll just look much, much better. So she was leggy and hanging all over the side. And I chopped, like I said, I probably could have taken a little bit more out of the middle now that I'm looking at it. But I took a ton off. Now, I have a regular fertilizing schedule for all of my annuals, my hanging baskets and the annuals I have in my planters and everything. But I didn't fertilize this one on the day I normally do because I knew I was going to be chopping her up. So now that I've chopped her up, I'm giving her a nice drink and some fertilizer. And this is everything I took off. All right, we're going to move into the front yard, and can you see? We freshly mulched this bed. It looks so much better. I have a couple of dahlias that I moved because I still need to pot them up. But I bought this beautiful plant that I want to put. My mom gave me this really, really pretty planter. She had two of them. One broke. And so she used it as a pair, and so she hadn't been using it. She asked me if I wanted it, and it's really, really gorgeous. So I said, yes, I want it, and I'm going to go ahead and put it right in this bed. I have, I think, lost a dahlia in this bed. You can kind of see it down in between the rocks. This bed is sloped downward from the house into the grass, and it slopes also down the side towards the neighbor's house. And I think the area where I planted that dahlia down there just got too dang wet. So it looks terrible. I'm going to wait for just a couple of days and see if it bounces back. If not, I don't want to plant anything in the ground in this area because I'm too afraid that it'll get waterlogged, especially with my heavy clay soil. So I'm just going to use a planter up here that will kind of fill in this bed. And I found this absolutely gorgeous caladium. So I'm going to put this in that pot, and I think it'll look super pretty here. Some caladiums require shade. Some are shade or sun. This one is shade or sun, just like the coleus. Like coleus used to be pretty much strictly a shade plant, but now they have all kinds of varieties that will thrive in sun as well. But isn't it just gorgeous? Oh, I loved it. Donna Jean, my girls don't really care about flowers or plants too much. I try to get them excited about them, but even Donna Jean was like, Mom, that is so pretty. So I think it'll look beautiful in this like minty green color pot. And it just adds a nice little bit of vibrant color up here in this bed. And just like I said with the coleus, it's so dang pretty. I don't know. I might take it inside once it gets too cold because it's so pretty. All right, it is done. Looks like I have a new leaf coming. So hopefully we got it in here before it dried out too much. I did add 2 red celotias in here because I've had them on my back deck for like, oh my gosh, 3 or 4 weeks. They were dying. 2 of them, I had a pack of 4, 2 of them died. So I just stuck them in there. And then I had some lemon ball sedum that I bought for something else, but I haven't used it yet. I split it apart. It was just a little pack. I split it apart and just stuck 2 little things in there. I think the color combo looks pretty nice. So let me give you a pan of the whole bed now. Fresh mulch really does make a huge difference. So this is where I have all of my dahlias planted, and I have my hanging baskets here. A hibiscus I just recently planted, and now I got this little pot here. Ignore the dead looking dahlia in front. It looks so pretty now. I can't wait. I think I see 1 bud on one of my dahlias so far. And speaking of the dahlias, my mom had, 2 of them just sprouted. Like very recently. We didn't think we were going to get anything from those, but she had like 5 left over. And she asked if I had room. And since my sunflowers that I planted in this bed got destroyed, well, most of them, from the animals, I'm just going to go ahead. I said, yes, I have room. I'm just going to put them in this bed back here. My husband mulched over here first. So I'm just kind of having to push the mulch aside. No big deal. And I'm going to get these dahlias in the ground. And can you see my Mexican sunflowers over there? Oh my gosh. That's probably the thing I am most excited about for my whole garden. I'm so darn excited about those Mexican sunflowers. I'm super excited about the dahlias too because they are so beautiful. And my mom and I, she showed me how to do them. We did the tubers, She's had these tubers for a long time. She was kind enough to share a lot of them with me. So I had dahlias last year and they were so pretty. And now again this year, I have even more dahlias than I had last year. All right, so this bed is now officially done. 2 dahlias are super duper teeny. They were ones that we didn't even think were going to make it. And all of a sudden they sprouted. So we got that baby and that baby. This was one of mine from last year. It was a beautiful, like light lavender. And I was so sad that it didn't sprout, but it did finally sprout. So hopefully it will grow. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 dahlias in this bed now. So hopefully they'll take off. I keep hearing the thunder, so I'm not gonna water right now. I did water a couple of them because they were very dry when I put them in, but the rest of them I had just watered earlier today. I'm leaving these 2 things up. I probably shouldn't, but I don't know if this is one of my sunflowers. I kind of think it is, but it's really not doing anything, so I'm thinking it can't be. And same thing with that little one there. I'm thinking it can't be because I planted these all in the ground at the same time. And the animals came and destroyed all of them except for my Mexican sunflowers. And dang, look at how big my Mexican sunflowers are. So I'm thinking those cannot be sunflowers. But I don't know. I'm going to give them just a little bit more time. So now that this bed is mulched and everything is planted in here, it looks absolutely lovely. I can't wait for blooms. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so dang excited about these Mexican sunflowers. They are just getting so big. And I think I might have a bud coming. Maybe it's the only one that I really see that much activity in the center, but they've just gotten so big. I can't wait. I can't wait. So now we're going to have beautiful tall dahlias and 4 Mexican sunflowers and maybe more if the ones that I sowed a few weeks ago get big enough for me to plant out here. So, all right, it's done. It's a good thing I didn't water those dahlias and they're getting plenty now. Oh my heavens. Oh, look at what that little downpour just provided us. Ah, so beautiful. This is the first rainbow I have seen of 2024. Look at this beauty. Oh my gosh. I woke up this morning and I was like, I'm going to the nursery. I'm going to get 2 hibiscus. I'm going to create a little bed out here. And so I just this morning decided to do this. I'm going to clean up this little bed in front of my deck and I'm going to make it into a little garden bed with some beautiful hibiscus. So the first thing I needed to do was trim up this euonymus bush, or I think spindle, but the technical term is euonymus, if I'm saying that right. Anyways, we've been here for close to 13 years, never ever trimmed this dang bush. I watched a couple of videos. One was Laura from Garden Answers. She has a fantastic channel. Trimming up bushes is really not that difficult. But I'm grateful for her video because she showed a bunch of, on her euonymus bush, dead stuff underneath, and oh boy did I find a lot of dead stuff underneath. And this was a great learning experience for me. Like I said, it's not really hard to trim up a bush, but you know, whenever you do something for the first time, it can be a little bit intimidating. I wasn't necessarily going for it to be perfect. I just knew it needed to be trimmed up. I couldn't even see underneath. There's a bunch of leaves and stuff that got stuck underneath and it's just overgrown. And, you know, your plants, like I said, with the hanging basket, they appreciate so much when you keep them trimmed up. They thrive more. So I'm just getting in here and just going to try to make this bush look a little bit better. My husband wanted to remove the bush. And I'm like, no, we're not removing the bush. Like, it's fine. It's a pretty bush. It just needs to be maintained, which we haven't been doing. But look at all of this dead branching underneath, which is not great for the plant. You guys are going to have to tell me if you have a euonymus bush, because I ran into a couple of things with this bush. And again, being my first time ever trimming a bush or trying to maintain a bush that I have to keep it healthy and happy, I'm not sure if some things are normal or not normal, but obviously this is a pretty hardy bush. I haven't done anything to it for 13 years and it just keeps on growing, but I'm going to give it a good trim, get all of this dead stuff out of here. I know right now it looks like I'm going to have a big hole in the middle, but I won't. I'm just moving branches out of the way so that I can get to the bottom area here so that I can get all of this dead stuff out of here. And honestly, I probably didn't even get to all of it. I did my best. I went every side to side and got underneath it. But here's where I was like, I don't know if this is normal. Like the branches were just all tangled up inside of themselves. So I couldn't tell which branch was growing from which way because they all got tangled up inside of itself. So curious to know if you have this particular bush, or I guess maybe any bush might do this. Is it supposed to do that? I'm thinking it's not supposed to do that. Look at this big one that I'm pulling out right now. Was so tangled up in other branches. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this poor thing. I've been neglecting it. And she's just all tangled up everywhere. Once again, something I thought was going to be quick and easy ended up taking me 45 minutes just trying to get all the dead stuff out of the bottom and trying to untangle it so I could figure out which branches were supposed to grow which way. Which way. So I can't imagine that it's good to let your plant get all tangled up in itself like that. But I'm curious to hear what you have to say. Again, looks again like I'm going to have a big gap here just because I'm pushing things back to try to get to all of the dead stuff in here. And when I was done trimming it, I don't feel like it looks the best, but I think it will help the bush a lot. It will just be able to grow better with most of the dead stuff gone and me untangling most of the branches. And I'm thinking I probably should do this again come the fall. Let me know when you typically trim up your bushes. I'm thinking before frost, I should give her a good trim again, but I really just kind of wanted to round it out a little bit and to be able to see underneath it. I was even finding as I was untangling, there were so many leaves that were stuck inside the bush because she was so tangled up in herself. So that helped to be able to clean that out. But I wanted to be able to see the bottom so I could clean underneath it better. It was just so overgrown. It was all the way to the deck, and I wanted to have a space, where I could get back there and clean as well. So I would love to hear what's going on in your world. What are you up to this week? Are you working on any projects in your house or outside of your house? I know some of y'all live in areas that it is just too gosh darn hot right now to be able to work outside. So you work outside in times when I can't work outside because it's too cold. So love to hear if you want to share. I love cheering you on. I love getting inspired by the projects you are working on. So definitely feel free to leave that down in the comments. And all of this trimming just created a whole nother bag of yard waste for us to put out this week for the guys. I had another euonymus bush in the front yard that's in the bed where my husband got poison ivy. I told him I wanted to redo that bed. I never said I wanted that bush removed, and he removed the dang bush. I was so mad. It was a different kind of euonymus. It was really pretty. It was called like a Japanese something euonymus, but I cracked up at dinner the other night because, I don't know, I said something about the garden or something. And Donna Jean goes, that's a Japanese maple terrace hibiscus. Like she was just making up words that she's heard me say, because the girls heard me. My husband was like, that thing was a weed. And I was like, that was not a weed. It was a Japanese euonymus. So I was cracking up. All right, so I've laid cardboard down here. I pulled most of the weeds, laid cardboard. I actually didn't have enough cardboard, so I had to take some cardboard from the pathway I've been making that I already told you about earlier in the video. But I'm going to put my hibiscus in here. I really need to get a box cutter or a straight edge. I don't have one. So I'm cutting this cardboard up with a dang steak knife. It worked just fine. You got to use the tools you have on hand. But I wanted to get these babies in the ground. I think it's going to rain. It actually started raining while I was doing this. So I wanted to get them in the ground so they could start getting settled in. And when I planted the hibiscus in the front yard, I had a few comments. So just in case you didn't know, there is a hardy hibiscus. It is hardy to zones 5 through 8, I think, or might be 5 through 9. It's by Proven Winners. At least this is the only one I found. And it's called Summerific Hibiscus. So this should grow big and beautiful. They get like 5 to 6 feet tall, I think. They just kind of turn into a bush. I was actually introduced to hibiscus because my mom's neighbor has them in her yard. They come back every single year. They're so beautiful. I actually took a cutting from her. She gave me a cutting last year. I tried to propagate it, but it didn't work. So anyways, there are hardy hibiscus if you live in a colder climate like me. So excited to put these into this bed and watch them come back year after year. They are absolutely so beautiful. I am filling the hole with some compost as well to give it some really good nutrients. And funny enough, this is the first bed I have dug into that was not clay, as much clay as what the rest of my yard has. I'm wondering if the previous owner did some amending to the soil. And I actually was like, dang it, I wanted it to be more clay-like soil for this hibiscus because they really like to be moist. Obviously, it needs to be well draining, but they do like to stay moist for the most part. So I'm going to have to make sure, I don't know, like I said, my whole yard is filled with clay soil. This side over here had a little bit more clay than the other side, but it was not clay-like. I was so shocked. But anyways, I'll just have to make sure to keep an eye on them and make sure that they stay watered regularly. And the nursery is getting ready to close. That's close to my home for the season. They'll open back up in the fall. So they had all of their annuals, buy one, get one free, which I think is a pretty common theme for most nurseries. At least it is in my area. These are perennials, so unfortunately they were not buy one, get one free, but they were $19.99. So not a bad price for something that will come back year after year. So I did buy just 4 sets of petunias. They didn't have a big selection. Once my zinnias that I sowed directly, or that I'm trying to grow right now, they're very small. I might try to plant them in here. I did plant some zinnias in this bed. They're all gone. I don't know if Clark trampled them or if some animals came through and ate them. They were very small when I put them in the ground, but they're gone. So that's kind of a bummer. So anyways, now I'm going to get this mulched over so it's going to look lovely. I've got the cardboard laid down to help with the weeds growing, and I'm only going to put the mulch on the areas that I have cardboard. There's a few little areas that I still need to get cardboard on and mulch. And let's take a look. This is what the bed looked like before. It was just kind of had some weeds, a couple of rocks, and my very overgrown sad euonymus bush. and I just transformed it into this lovely little garden bed. I've got 2 hibiscus, some petunias, and my trimmed up euonymus bush. Oh my gosh, so happy. All right, another backyard or garden project, 95% finished. There's Clarky. He's looking at me because he heard me talking. Okay, now he's gonna walk away. I am so pleased with the way it turned out. Clarky, don't you dare step in that bed. So I think I already told you, but I just did 4 petunias just to give it a little bit more color. Hopefully those will spread out some. If my zinnias, well, I shouldn't say if, when my zinnias are ready to transplant, because they're growing, they're just not very big yet. I can add those into this bed, but I don't know. I just woke up and I was like, I need to go get 2 of the 2 of the hibiscus. That would look so pretty out here. Give me something perennial, and it'll just look lovely. And then I can add, you know, more perennial or more annuals to the front of the bed, because those are going to get fairly big, but we shall see how they grow in this spot. I would call this full sun for sure, but it probably gets about 6 hours before the afternoon shade hits it. So it gets a lot of morning and early afternoon sun. So anyways, it looks lovely to me. Yes, I would like to have a little bit more flowers in here, but I just did what I could for the time being, so I'm super happy with it. Look at my dang snapdragons. They are, so many of them are blooming. I'm so proud of this. Something different happens when you sow your own seeds and they grow to this. I mean, don't get me wrong. The ones I bought and I planted, I love, but there is something magical about sowing your own dang seeds and them turning into this gorgeousness. Like, what? I only had 2 sets of snapdragons, 2 different varieties, so this is what I'm gonna get. But a lot more are gonna bloom soon. But oh, isn't it just lovely? Oh, dang it, I just lost a bloom. Isn't it just lovely? It's so big and tall. Ah, so happy. So, all right, got a lot done. A lot of yard work. Transformed the garden. Didn't even know I was going to do this. A garden bed. It is smaller. So it didn't take a whole lot of time. Of course, it always takes longer than I think it's going to take. What was I going to say? What did we do? We did so much. I did so much yard work this week. Like every day, there was a lot of things I didn't even film. I think I'm going to have a bonus video for you coming on Friday. So stay tuned for that. Oh, I did want to tell you, let's just take a look again. I mean, how dang beautiful is that? The blooms only last 1 day, so my blooms from yesterday are starting to wither off, but new blooms are coming, and they will eventually just come on every side of the bush. It will just kind of become a bush. So this variety here is very awesome. And then this one I bought, I told you about this last time. I got, because I planted one in the front yard, and I almost bought this one, Ballet Slippers. It's almost like a white, very light pink. So I think these 2 will look beautiful together. They had a beautiful red one as well. And then they had one pink one that had 1 bloom on it, and they said color unknown. I almost bought that one. It was really pretty. This is more of like a mauve, I would say, or a berry. And that was more of a pink. So anyways, I'm going to stop talking. This is a long video. We got so much done. I hope it inspired you to tackle a project inside your house or outside your house, in your yard. I'm so happy to have this bed all finished for now. It just looks so much better. This will really help with weed control as well. And glad I got that dang thing trimmed up. It doesn't look great, but I'll do some more trimming on it and just kind of keep up on it, and hopefully we can get it in better shape within the next year or so. So I have just a colorful deck area now, and when I look outside, I get to see these beautiful hibiscus. So, All right, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. I appreciate you so much. And I think I'm going to see you on Friday for a bonus video. Have a great day. Bye.